Hi, I'm Lauren.
And I'm Alana.
And we have just started No More Hot Paws. This is our very first podcast, so
please be patient with us.
give us some room. But we just came on here today to start talking to you about something that's really important to us. Something that's been really important to me for a few years now. I have two dogs. I have Vida, Border Collie, and my old girl, Lady, who is about to be 13, and she's a Labrador.
And I have Lolly, and she's a Labradoodle, and she's just pictured there, and she's actually at our feet at the moment. But she's just laying here quietly, just curled up, listening to us while we're talking.
Yeah, and that's all we're doing, having a chat.
Yeah.
So, why No More Hot Paws? We live on the Gold Coast, which is beautiful. We are surrounded by some of the nicest beaches in the world. But it gets hot, and really hot. It gets really hot in summer. We're in spring right now, and already it's starting to warm up. I reckon today will be about 22, 24 degrees.
And when it's 24, it's too hot to take your dog out.
And that's spring, you know. Yeah. That's not hot for the Gold Coast. People are still wearing jumpers. They
are. So, you know, like what we want people to realise is No More Hot Paws isn't about us selling you little paw beauties. That's not what it's about. It's not even just about the fact that you burn your dog's paws when you take them out in the heat of the sun. It's also about all of the effects and, you know, the health and well-being of your dogs. It's not just about the paws, but about the fact that they can overheat on just taking them for a short walk in the middle of the day.
That's right. And it's not just their paws either that can overheat. It's very quickly can turn very, very seriously into heat exhaustion, which is organ failure, which can turn into a horrifically either expensive vet bill or it can turn into fatal where you lose your dog. And the amount of people on the Gold Coast, and we're not the hottest place in Australia, that we continuously see walking their dogs during the middle of the day, on a hot day, on bitumen, at the beach with no sun, no shade, no water. No sun, sorry. No shade, no water. It just, I don't think anybody understands just how severely and how quickly things can go wrong.
Yeah, exactly. I've got Lolly now, but when I was pregnant with my son, our family dog...
Just a few years ago? How long ago was this?
20... Okay, I'm old. It was 24 years ago. But our family dog was Sandy, and she was a Labrador cross. And she was old. She was 16. And that's something else that a lot of people don't know. Certain breeds and also certain ages of dogs, they're more prevalent to heat exhaustion. Anyway, so she got out. So we had a workman to their house, and he didn't latch the gate properly. So she got out, and it was her last hurrah. She went running through the neighbourhood. We were searching for her frantic. I was very heavily pregnant. My mum was out, my sisters were out, I was out, and trying to find the dog. And finally a lady said, "Are you trying to find a white dog?" And we're like, "Yeah." And she said, "She's down at the local vets." And we're like, "Oh, thank you so much." So somebody picked her up and taken her down to the local vets. Well, by the time we got down there, it was too late. The vet had her on drip. They were trying everything they could, but she was 16. She'd gone out in the middle of the day. She had heat stroke, and she had organ failure. So we made the really tough decision to have her put down. My sister stayed with her while that happened. I didn't. I was very heavily pregnant. And it was just a really, really sad time. Like, my husband, Michael, ended up burying our dog. Like, it was just terrible. And it was through no fault of anybody, really. She'd gotten out. We do say it was her last hurrah, but it happened so quickly. It wasn't like it was hours and hours and hours. She was gone for at most an hour in the middle of the day. So,
and this was on the Gold Coast?
No, this was in Alexandra Hills. So this was in...
Sunshine Coast?
No, just southeast of Brisbane. So, in the Redland Shire. So, and it wasn't in the middle of summer. It was spring. And, that was enough for her. It was a hot day in spring, but that was enough. So we said goodbye to our dog. And, you know, and it's something that we don't ever want to have for anybody else.
Well, we were talking to a counsellor, Gold Coast counsellor, the other day, whose cousins took their dog out for a walk during the middle of the day, just had a baby, didn't realise $6,000 later at the vet to treat this dog for heat exhaustion. Completely preventable, like. And I'm of the real belief that anybody out walking their dog, no matter what time of day it is, they're not trying to hurt their dog. Like, I don't think anybody would intentionally go, oh, this will be fun, let's, do something wrong. But they just don't know. So, and it's something that I get so mad about. Like, Alana's seen me and we'll be at the beach in the middle of the day and someone will be there and I'll be like, oh my God, what do I do? What do I say? So we just are out there to spread the news about how dangerous it is, and hopefully we can actually make a change, make it cool, make it something that we can kind of educate people without shoving it in their faces, being hypocritical, or even yelling at people across the street.
Yeah, we don't want to encourage people to start fights. Like, seriously. I'm sure those people that are out in the middle of the day with their dog are not out there to hurt their dog, and we don't want you to start fights. We don't want you to yell abuse.
I have friends that yell at people now. I'm like, don't yell. Let's just find a way to get our message out there.
Yeah.
Because everybody loves their dogs. Like, honestly, I was at the dog beach on Sunday and I cannot get over how happy it made me. I woke up, wasn't feeling too great, got down to the dog beach. My dogs love going to the dog beach. We go to the Tallabudgera dog beach. It's beautiful. We met an 11-week-old black Labrador puppy, and then I met another little Cavalier puppy, and all the dogs were so happy. And I was like, you can't be mad and be at the dog beach. Like, it's just such a nice place to be, and everybody loves their dogs. So I really think that this is just a matter of getting some education out there. Yeah. So many people take their dogs everywhere now. You got people that travel with their dogs in their caravan. You got people that have them in the back of a ute. And I just think that they don't realise how hot it is.
Yeah.
And the damage it can do. And then how quickly it heats too.
Yeah, like, the amount of people that you hear of, they left their dog in the car either inadvertently or to go to the shops, or we've even had somebody go to Movie World on the Gold Coast. There was a whole news article about it where they had to come and rescue the dogs out of the car, and dogs can die in 6 minutes in the car.
Doubles in heat.
Yeah,
the temperature outside, inside your car
doubles.
I just don't even understand how that happens these days, that you think that you could leave your dogs in the back of a car.
Yeah,
but
it's not even in the car. Like, what about locking them on the veranda?
Yeah.
And you go out all day.
So many people live in apartments these days.
Yeah, they don't realise when that sun... It's all right in the morning when you go, but
that's something that Matt sees all the time, doing abseiling off the sides of buildings.
Yeah, it's terrible.
It's
really hot.
Yeah, so we just want to talk, it's not really... I don't think it's as big a thing in Australia as it is in other countries, tying your dogs up in your backyard. I think everybody has mainly got secure backyards if you've got a pet. But even kennels, we've seen the heat that some kennels can get to.
Yeah.
Inadvertently, and dogs lying in there, crating your dogs. With blankets and towels, like, that creates heat as well.
Yeah, and I was reading some articles about, crating your dogs. But if you leave your dog in a crate, which is fine, a lot of dogs are crate trained, and sometimes you need to do that for safety, especially if you're traveling. But think about that. Put a fan in there, maybe put one of those cooling blankets in there, but also don't leave them in there all day.
Yeah.
Because they just, it gets too hot. And I know a lot of people now that I was talking to at Paws in the Park, they were saying in summer they leave the aircon on in their house all day for their dogs, even if they're not there. And
I'm really grateful I've got shaded areas and big trees, because leaving my aircon on for my dogs, it's a bit of...
Bernese mountain dogs, they had to. They were big, fluffy dogs.
They did.
So, yeah.
Well, even our friend Gina does. She leaves her house with the aircon on during the day because she lives out whoop whoop and it gets hot.
On the really, really high days, we do the same for our dog Lolly. Yeah. Because we leave her inside if we go out. She doesn't like being left outside.
Yeah.
She's
But you
13.
also don't really have that big backyard with the shady areas and
No,
everything like that
we
as
don't.
well. So it's a necessity.
Yeah.
It needs to happen.
Yeah. So, I mean, we work from home most of the time, so she's with us a lot.
Yep.
And if we're not around, sometimes she goes to work with our daughter. She loves it.
Yeah. So we've created No More Hot Paws. We have social media all across most platforms.
Yep.
Our slogan is
Not all walks are
not
good
all
walks.
walks are good walks. We will be coming to you. We'll be talking to a lot of people in the pet industry.
Yeah.
And we'll get more to that on our next podcast.
Yep.
This was just a quick introduction to talk about what it is that we're most passionate about, why we've started this, and
we'll have
introduce
lots of good
ourselves.
stuff. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So hopefully you can support us and share the message. If you just share it with one person, it'll make a difference.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for listening.